Hello and welcome to the next sports science video. Today I'm going to be talking about the effective use of imagery. So first of all, what is imagery? So essentially, imagery is an imagined experience that mimics real life. To perform imagery, an athlete will simply close their eyes and either recall a memory and recreate an experience. So for example, you might remember a race that went really well and replay that in your head, or you will imagine a future scenario based on past experiences. So again, you might be coming up to a competition, you really want it to go well, so you're going to imagine it going well based on a previous experience, so you'll have kind of similar connections. An athlete may use imagery to prepare them for training, competitions, and also learning and developing a new skill. So benefits of imagery. Imagery can be used to help motivate an athlete in the following ways. So first of all, goal attainment. So for example, imagining winning a medal or event. So before a competition, a way to get you motivated is you might close your eyes and imagine yourself walking up to the podium and getting that gold medal around your neck. So that's how it can help motivate you. Arousal. So for example, you can practice feeling excited. So you can close your eyes and imagine you are going into a racing scenario, so a competition, and you can practice those feelings and imagine those feelings of getting really pumped up, ready to go. Or on the other hand, you can practice staying calm. So again, close your eyes and put yourself in that competition scenario, and maybe where you normally get nervous, just go through your head and practice calming yourself down and feeling relaxed. And if you practice it in your head, then when you actually go into a competition scenario, you should then be better at actually relaxing yourself. And then also mastery. So this is kind of overcoming a challenge. So again, if maybe you have trouble getting off the blocks at the start, maybe that's your downfall in a race. So if you kind of practice, so close your eyes and imagine that in your head. Imagine you get that perfect start and you just keep going over that in your head. And then when it comes to the actual competition, actual race, when you're on those starting blocks, you'll have a lot more confidence, and you should then be able to actually perform better because you've practiced that kind of scenario in your head. Imagery can also be used to help an athlete develop cognitive processes, such as skill rehearsal. So you can imagine practicing or performing a skill. Again, it's that thing, practice makes perfect. It doesn't always have to be physically doing something. Even just going over something in your head, kind of like revising it, you keep going over it, you're going to get more used to doing it, and it'll just be easier to actually do it in real life. So kind of think almost like studying for an exam. If you keep going over it, you're going to learn the material better. Also strategy, so planning how you will carry out a movement. So for example, again, let's go for that block start. So you can, in your head, imagine getting the perfect technique and keep replaying that in your head and imagining yourself using the perfect technique. And again, then when you go into either training or a competition, because you've had that practice in your head, it should be easier to carry it out in real life. So next one is kind of perceptions. So within imagery, you don't have to always do it as if it's through your eyes. You can also use imagery through someone else's eyes. So for example, you can, again, let's go for the competition scenario. You can either be yourself in the competition, so as I said, you see it through your eyes, or you could be a spectator, so you look at the scene as if you're sat in the stands watching, or you could be the coach, so again, you look as if through the coach's eyes, you're looking at you as an athlete. Often people will find one method easier than the other. This is because people can just find it easier to focus on different variables, or you can imagine the scene better. So some people, personally, I find it easier to see it looking through my own eyes because I can kind of picture what I'd be seeing and experiencing, whereas other people will find it a lot easier to picture the whole setting, the whole scenery, and actually look at themselves, their whole body, rather than just through the eyes. So again, it depends on the person and what they find easier to imagine. It all depends on kind of your imagination skill. A little tip is, if you're new to imagery, try out both ways. So try closing your eyes and imagining a scenario through your own eyes, but also then On another day, try it again, so close your eyes, but this time do it as if you're looking through someone else's eyes, and just see which one works best and which one you find easiest in terms of looking at the scene and imagining what's going on. Final point, so, is actually when to use imagery. So some people don't know what the best time is to practice imagery. To be honest, it's obviously dependent on the person, but really you want to, again, try and do it as much as possible, because it's all about that practice makes perfect. The more you imagine all these scenarios, whether they're training scenarios or competition scenarios, the more you're going to be able to deal with any stress that comes your way, any unexpected events, anything to help kind of motivate as well. If you've planned for all these different cases, then when it actually comes to it, you will be a lot better equipped to deal with it and let it impact your performance less. So for example, stress, you can, kind of take it away and obviously deal with it a lot better. So yeah, getting back to the main point, when to use imagery, it's always ideal to try and do it before, during and after a training and competition. So for example, before training, if you're at home, just take 5-10 minutes to kind of sit down, close your eyes and imagine how you're going to perform at training. Imagine turning up motivated, imagine having a really good session basically. During training, so obviously it can be hard to close your eyes during training, but maybe just when you're having maybe a rest period or just grabbing your water, even those small times, you can imagine how that next how you're going to swim the next length basically. You can even plan something like that. And then obviously after training, when you get home, you can reflect on how it went, and then again use that experience to then imagine how training will go tomorrow. So it's all about imagining different scenarios and just motivating yourself. In terms of competition beforehand, so when you wake up in the morning, again just take a few minutes to practice how the day's going to go, think out all the good things that could happen, also think out any unexpected scenarios, practice them in your head, practice how you'll deal with them. Just imagine, as I said, anything that could happen, and then when you go to the competition, you should be better to deal with whatever happens. During competition, so if you're doing multiple races, then between races, again, take some time to use imagery, so close your eyes and again think of how the next race is going to go. Maybe replay the race that just went on and then see how you can change it for the next one within your mind. And then after competition, so again, reflect on your performance and imagine how, when you next compete, how either your performance will again go well like it did today, or maybe if it didn't go well, imagine how you could change that and how you'll perform next time. When, as I said, some of the good places to practice it are probably at home. That's probably where you're most comfortable. You need to be in a comfortable environment so that you can relax and fully get into it. Obviously, if you're doing it in a busy place, it's going to be hard to kind of switch off, close your eyes and really get into your mind. So make sure you're doing it somewhere where you feel at ease. Also, another point of when to use imagery, it's really good to use when you're injured. Obviously, if you're injured, you might not be able to swim certain strokes, you might not be able to perform certain movements, you might not even be able to go to swimming training at all. So it can be quite a good way to keep your spirits high, keep you motivated, and also just to allow you to have hope still, kind of. So when what you can do, so again, close your eyes and you can recall some really good experiences you've had. So again, really good competition, a good training session, you can replay that in your head to help, as I said, keep your spirits high, keep you motivated. You can also use it to imagine how you're going to be first training session back or first competition back. Again, if you're injured, think of every scenario. So imagine that you probably won't be quite at your highest level because you've been injured. So imagine that in your head. Imagine how it's going to feel going back to the pool, and just imagine how much maybe more effort you're going to have to put in. But then also with the competitions, just imagine that you can still do it and get that into your head, that picture yourself having a really good performance, just again to keep you motivated and want you to get back on track when you're not injured. You can also use it, as I said before, for skill rehearsal. So especially when you're injured, you're not going to be able to physically perform maybe all of the movements, all of the skills. So this is when it's a really good time to keep imagining yourself doing those skills, doing those movements. And again, it's all just the practice makes perfect. If you keep going over in your head, even when you're injured, you'll have some kind of link, so that when you do go back, because you've been doing it in your mind, it will be easier. So that's what I'm going to talk about today with effective use of imagery, and why you should try it out. So obviously main points are just it can help you, help to motivate you, and also just help you to imagine every possible scenario, so that when you're in, as I said, training or competition, you can deal with pretty much anything that's thrown at you. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. Any questions, any comments, please feel free to comment on the video. And yeah, please tune in again on Monday to watch Ellen's next video, and I'll be back next Wednesday. Thanks for watching.